Here's a video I've made before, but I want to remake it better. And I put up an Instagram post today about this too. Um, I think it's really, really a valuable idea as well as a valuable technique. Um, the concept is how can we deal with being uncomfortable? And the preface is that you know some of the best things we want to do, the hard things I call them, the hard things, they're not comfortable. They're very uncomfortable. Um, and if you've been in the gym for a little bit, you understand that. You understand that the good things, the hard things, they're not comfortable at all. And so if we know that, and we know that being able to tolerate pain and being able to tolerate being uncomfortable can help us get a lot of the things that we want, a lot of the things we set out for, then what's a way? What are ways? But what's a good way to start to getting ourselves inured, hardened to this idea of being uncomfortable and not quitting, not giving up? So this idea comes from a therapy that I'm really big on right now. And I don't want to mess it up. I think it's called ACT, or Acceptance Commitment Therapy. And there's more to it than that, but that gives you a pretty good idea of what this is about. It's about accepting where you are and what you have to do, and then making a commitment to taking action. So there's really three parts of it. You have to accept that, in our case, for this discussion, what I want to do is going to be uncomfortable. You have to accept that there's no way around it. You're going to be uncomfortable. And once you accept that things are going to be uncomfortable, the next thing you do is you commit to being uncomfortable. And that sounds like the two same things. I accept that it's going to be uncomfortable, and then I commit to going through the uncomfortableness of it to get to the other side or to get what I want. But they're different. Let's just start with accepting being uncomfortable and how powerful just that first step is. Um, Once you accept that you're not going to block this out or run away from it or find some way to make it go away, you're not going to water it down in any way, shape, or form. You're going to accept how uncomfortable things are. You're going to accept the pain that comes with this thing that you have to do, whether you chose it or whether it's something in life that was thrown on you. You're going to accept the pain and the discomfort that comes with that. And so you sort of, it's sort of like, it sounds like it's giving up, accepting it, but it's not giving up at all. It's accepting it as a fact. It's seeing it for what it is. This is going to be hard, and I'm not going to be able to trick myself into blocking it out or running away from it or pretending it's not going to be hard and it's not going to be uncomfortable. And that's a very freeing first step. It frees you to get busy then, not trying to find some way out of it or around it or to blame somebody else for it, or it's just taking it and embracing it. You embrace being uncomfortable. You hold it. You don't try to look away. You try to look right at it and say, this is misery. This is pain. This is discomfort. And you see it for what it is. And if it doesn't kill you, Nietzsche said, if it doesn't kill us, it's going to make us stronger. Now, some pain definitely does that. The pain in the weight room and a lot of the pain that I'm talking about absolutely does that. But of course, there is pain that destroys you. I'm not talking about that. And that's something different altogether. So if it doesn't kill me, it's just something I have to go through. And by setting my mind, step one, that I'm going to do it. I'm going to go through it. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. That really frees you up to go on step two. You give up trying to figure out a way out of it, and you just get busy on getting through it. And so the second thing of ACT is the commitment part. So once you understand, you come to terms with the fact that whatever this thing is, a 10-mile run, a long set on the leg presses, or something in your relationship that's emotional, it doesn't matter what it is. Once you decide that it's going to be uncomfortable and I'm going to make it through this, I accept that it's uncomfortable. And I also accept that I'm going to make it. Those two things go hand in hand, really. Uh, you don't accept something that's going to destroy you. So you know that this isn't the kind of pain that does that. This isn't the kind of uncomfortableness that does that. So then you get busy committing yourself to going through the discomfort, outlasting it, overcoming it. And you begin to work on strategies and tactics to do that. And you don't waste time on that first step of trying to deny it or get around it or get out of it or run from it. You just face it. And then once you realize you're going to face it, you're committing yourself to facing it, then you can get busy on the strategies and the tactics that you're going to approach to get you through to the other side, to what you want. And then, there's got to be some action that has to take place. You have to take some sort of action to deal with whatever's causing the uncomfortable situation. So that's where it comes from. And the technique that I want to tell you about is super simple. It's a breath holding technique. And so if you ever hold your breath for a long time, you know that it starts out easy. You don't even notice it. And then it gets very uncomfortable right before you quit and gasp for air. So this is perfectly safe. It's perfectly uncomfortable enough to teach this lesson. So that's where we're going to get to, a breath holding technique. But why would we want to do this? Why would you want to become comfortable being uncomfortable? Well, first of all, it's a discipline. And so all good disciplines that help you get something are worthwhile pursuing a little bit. But this is different because it changes your relationship. It changes the way you frame the pain and the discomfort. You don't necessarily fight it anymore. You don't spend all that energy fighting and battling. It's not a war. You accept it. You embrace it. You don't go away from it. You go into it. And that changes everything. Now you can still, most athletes, of course, know how to block pain. They're really, really good at it. They're so good at it that they hurt themselves a lot because they're so good at blocking what their body's telling them. And so that can be a boon to you. It can be a very useful tool to get you through some painful things, but it can also be a bane. It can also cause you to go too far. And so the blocking pain, the blocking discomfort, the denying discomfort, the I'm just not going to feel it attitude, it has limits. And one of those limits is if you don't have just as much strength in blocking your pain as you do awareness of understanding your body, you're in for a disaster sooner or later, And I think it's a good thing that athletes get to the point where their mind is strong enough to block out all the pain that they can get to the point where they would hurt themselves, right? Nothing's going to stop me. I'm not even going to let pain and damage stop me. That's a very strong mental state to be in, and it's laudable, but it's also dangerous. So if you don't also develop the skills of being aware of where your limits are, where the lines are, where the too far marker is, you're doing yourself a disservice by becoming mentally stronger that way. So back to why you would want to do this and why it's helpful is that it changes your normal, what most athletes have as a normal way of dealing with pain. Most athletes either deny it, they block it out. Let's just use that term. You just block the pain. You just act like it's not even there. And that to me, a lot of times felt like I was lying to myself. It felt dishonest because I knew the pain was there, but I pretended that it wasn't. And that works for a lot of people for a lot of things. But this is a different way to deal with that same kind of stuff. This is a way of changing your relationship to the pain, not changing the pain, not trying to change the pain, accepting the pain for what it is, but focusing not on the pain, but on your strength in being able to persevere through it. And that's a complete flip flop. One way the pain is in charge and you're the one that has to put blinders on and pretend it's not there. The other way is you're fully aware of all the pain that you're experiencing, but it doesn't get the better of you. You don't change it, you change you. You focus on the strength that you have to get through the pain. And you learn the mechanisms that you have in here and in your heart to do that. And one good way to do it is the breath holding technique. So this is part one of the video. I'm going to split this one up. This is part one, and it's an introduction to this breath holding technique and changing your relationship to discomfort. Being uncomfortable and not running away, but just being okay to stay uncomfortable for a long time. So there's the basic introduction, and we're going to move on to part two in a minute here.